My name is Marcus, and I'm someone who believes in timing. Everything in my life has been about timing, leaving home at the right moment, applying for jobs at the right time, saying the right thing when it matters. That's probably why I've always felt a little disconnected from the world. Life felt like a series of calculated moments rather than actual living. But sometimes, life doesn't care about your calculations. It was January 15th. I remember because I'd written it on my calendar in red pen 3 months earlier. The interview with Morrison Tech. The job I'd been preparing for since graduation. The position that would finally prove something to my parents, to myself, to everyone who'd ever doubted whether I had what it took. I'd practiced my answers in the car, in the shower, while walking through my apartment. I knew exactly what I was going to say. The weather forecast had mentioned snow, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was too focused on the drive, on making sure I'd leave exactly 40 minutes early to account for winter conditions. I lived in Denver, where snow wasn't rare, but this particular morning felt different. The sky had turned an ominous gray, and the flakes were coming down harder than expected. My hands gripped the steering wheel tighter as I merged onto I-25, watching the visibility get worse with every passing mile. I was so focused on the road that I almost didn't see her. It was about 15 minutes from the office when I noticed a car pulled halfway into the ditch on the right shoulder, emergency lights blinking weakly through the heavy snow. And beside it, barely visible through the whiteout, was a figure standing with her arms wrapped around herself, shivering. Every rational part of me said to keep driving. I was going to be late. The roads were getting worse. This wasn't my problem. But there was something about seeing a person that vulnerable that made every excuse dissolve immediately. I pulled over, trying to position my car safely behind hers. The wind hit me like a physical force when I opened the door. My breath caught in my chest as I pushed against it, walking toward her. She was maybe 30 feet away, but it felt like miles through that wall of white. "Are you okay?" I shouted over the wind. She turned toward me, and even through the snow and the cold, I could see fear in her eyes. She was younger than I'd expected, maybe around my age, with dark hair plastered to her face by melting snow and ice. Her lips were already turning a concerning shade of blue. "My car won't start," she called back, her voice trembling. "I've been out here for, I don't know how long. Maybe 10 minutes? 20? I lost track." "Come on," I said, gesturing toward my car. "Get inside where it's warm." She hesitated for just a moment, and I understood later that she'd been thinking about stranger danger, about making a decision that could go either way in a moment like this. But desperation and cold have a way of overriding caution. She nodded and moved toward me, stumbling a little on the ice. I guided her to the passenger seat, cranking up the heat as soon as she was inside. She was shaking so hard that her teeth were actually chattering, a sound I could hear even over the rumble of the engine. "Hey," I said, reaching back to grab the emergency blanket I kept in my car for situations I'd never actually imagined needing. I draped it around her shoulders. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice still shaking. "Thank you so much. I don't even know what I was thinking driving in this." "What's your name?" I asked, trying to ground her with something normal, something human. "Emma," she said. "I'm Emma." I was trying to get to a thing. An appointment. Stupid, right? I should have waited. I glanced at my phone. 8:47 a.m. The interview was at 9:30. I was already going to be cutting it very close, and that was before considering that I couldn't just leave Emma in this situation. "I'm Marcus," I said. "And no, it's not stupid. Weather like this comes on fast." We sat in silence for a moment, the sound of the heating system and the relentless wind filling the space between us. I kept the engine running, watching my fuel gauge and trying to think of what to do next. Call a tow truck? The self-service was spotty at best. Drive her to a gas station? Everything was probably closed in this weather. "Do you live nearby?" I asked. "About 2 miles from here," Emma said. She turned to look at me, really look at me, and I felt something shift in my chest. Her eyes were a deep brown, and there was a kind of gratitude in them that felt almost unbearable. "I don't suppose you could—" "No, that's too much to ask. You've already done so much." "No, it's fine," I said. But even as I said it, I felt my carefully constructed timeline beginning to crumble. I have somewhere I need to be, but we'll figure something out. An appointment? She asked. For work? A job interview. I admitted. Pretty important one. Emma's face fell. Oh, God! You're going to be late because of me. Marcus, you can't. You need to go. I'll figure something out. There's to be someone I can call. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was still shaking, her hands wrapped around the blanket, her eyes red from the wind. And I realized something that surprised me. I didn't want to leave her. Not because I felt obligated, but because the thought of driving away and leaving her sitting in that car while she waited for help that might take hours felt impossible. My phone's almost dead, she continued, frustration creeping into her voice. I've tried calling, but the service is so bad out here. This is such a mess. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hey, I said quietly, you're not sorry. You needed help. I was here. That's all. She turned away from me, looking out at the snow. Her fingers traced along the edge of the blanket, and I could see her trying very hard to hold it together. There was something about the slope of her shoulders that made me want to fix everything for her, which was ironic considering I couldn't even get my own life on the schedule I'd planned. I'll take you home, I said, making the decision as I spoke it. We'll get you somewhere safe and warm, and then we'll worry about your car. But your interview... We'll have to wait, I said. Oh, won't happen. Either way, you're the priority right now. She looked at me again, and this time there was something different in her expression. Not just gratitude, but surprise, like she wasn't used to people putting her first. The drive to her house was slow and careful. Emma gave me directions, and we talked. Not about anything important, just conversations. She told me she was a teacher, heading to a doctor's appointment for a chronic headache condition that had been plaguing her for months. I told her I work in tech, had been stuck in the same job for 2 years, was trying to make a change. Our words became a kind of rhythm against the sound of the blizzard, a way to stay present and grounded. When we pulled into the driveway of her small craftsman house, she turned to me with her hand on the door handle. Come inside, she said. Please. It's the least I can do. I'll make coffee. Let you warm up properly, not just by sitting next to a car heater. I should have said no. I should have checked my phone, realized it was nearly 9:45, made a call to reschedule. But instead, I found myself nodding. Her house was small and warm, with mismatched furniture and shelves full of books. There were photographs on the walls, family pictures, a picture of her in a classroom surrounded by children. It felt like stepping into someone's actual life rather than a polite interaction. She made coffee, and we sat at her kitchen table. My phone buzzed once, twice. I ignored it. I still don't know how to repay you, Emma said, wrapping her hands around her mug. You literally just gave up your interview for me. Do you understand how crazy that is? In the best way, but crazy. You don't have to repay me, I said, and I meant it. This was just the right thing to do. But even as I said it, I was aware of something shifting between us. It wasn't gratitude anymore. It was curiosity, a question that hung in the air unspoken. What was this? Why did sitting at her kitchen table feel more real than anything I planned? Well, Emma said slowly, maybe I could give you my number, and if you ever need anything, or if you want to get coffee sometime and not be marooned in a car, I'd like to know you. To keep knowing you. I smiled. It wasn't the smile I'd planned to wear at the interview. It was something more genuine. I'd like that, I said. 3 months later, I got a different job. A better one. Actually, though I never did reschedule that Morrison Tech interview. Emma and I were sitting on her couch watching the snow fall from her living room window when she asked me how I'd forgiven myself for missing that opportunity. I haven't, I told her, but I found something better. Something I didn't even know I was looking for. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and I realized that maybe timing wasn't about calculated moments at all. Maybe it was about being exactly where you needed to be when someone needed you most. And maybe love wasn't something you planned for. Maybe it was something that found you on a blizzard-filled afternoon when you were brave enough to pull over and help. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more Heartfelt tales, and drop a comment letting us know where you're listening from. We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Thanks for being part of the Unscripted Hearts community.